here. What do you give on it? 25, 50, 75, $100,000. You are listening to the Auction is Action with You in It podcast presented by Call to Auction, where our favorite four-letter word is S-O-L-D. Sold. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the Auction is Action with You in It podcast. I am Bobby D, CEO and founder of Call to Auction, lead auctioneer, auctioneer coach, world champion auctioneer, and a lover of all things fundraising events. So today we are talking about something that's almost every nonprofit skips, but absolutely shouldn't. Reviewing your revenue before you plan this year's events, because if you don't look back first, you're not planning, you're guessing. Now, why revenue comes first? Now, most organizations jump straight into themes, venues, dates, and decor, but none of that really matters if the revenue strategy isn't grounded in reality. Revenue review isn't about judgment. It's not about blame. It's about clarity, because clarity gives you leverage, and leverage makes this year's event easier and more successful than last year. Now, here's some core numbers that you've got to look at. Now, let's keep this simple. You're not trying to become a CFO overnight. You're looking for patterns. Start with the big picture. Gross revenue, net revenue, cost to raise a dollar, and then break it down into your revenue streams. Ticket sales, sponsorships, paddle raise, live auction, silent auction, raffles or games. And here's the key question that you got to ask yourself. Which line item actually did the heavy lifting? Now, what actually drove the money? Now, let's go a little bit deeper than totals. First, ask questions. Where did the biggest gifts come from? How many donors gave during the paddle raise? Did energy peak early or late? Which sponsorships sold easy? Or maybe which ones stalled or needed a little bit extra pressure? This is where most organizations have their aha moment, because often a handful of donors carried the event. It's usually the 80-20 rule. You're going to have 20% of your donors that are going to be doing 80% of the fundraising. So question, how do you engage those other 80%? Now, because it's often a handful of donors that carry the event, you also have to look and see how the paddle raise did it outperform expectations? Or maybe the silent auction took a massive effort for minimal return. You got to look at that time ROI as well as your energy ROI. And is the juice worth the squeeze? Now, revenue always tells a story if you're willing to listen. Now, goals versus reality. Now, let's compare last year's goal to what actually happened. Did you hit your goal? Did you miss it? Did you exceed it? Now, if you exceeded it, why? If you missed it, what changed in the room? Now, here's the most important thing to remember. Missing a goal isn't a failure. It's just data. And data makes you smarter next time. And that's how we learn. Now, using last year to shape up this year, this is where review turns into strategy. Now, based on what you learned, double down on what worked, simplify what didn't, eliminate what drained energy without return. You might adjust your paddle raise amounts. You might include some incentivized giving opportunities, maybe change the pacing in the program. Prep donors earlier, get that board more engaged, rethink your sponsorship structure. Ask yourself, what do we repeat? What do we refine? And what do we remove? Repeat, refine, remove. That's what you got to do. Trim the dead wood. Now, making sure that you got your board and your team are aligned on this is so important. Now, this is that moment that to bring in your leadership in. Now, share these insights early. Use data to support decisions, not opinions. When board members understand why goals are shifting, they're far more likely to support them. And data builds confidence long before you ever make that final ask. Now, takeaways. Reviewing revenue isn't a technical exercise. It's an act of leadership. The best fundraising events aren't lucky. They are intentional. So before you plan this year's gala, auction, or appeal, let's look back first, because clarity today creates momentum tomorrow. Now, if you want some help reviewing your revenue or building a smarter strategy for this year's events, that's exactly what we do. Please do not hesitate to reach out. You can email me directly, bobby@calltoauction.com. Now, got a special announcement. I want you to stay tuned for a new toolbox that will help you analyze these numbers and help you to build a successful gala. I guarantee you're going to love this new tool that's coming out. Now, make sure that you are subscribed to the Auction is Action with You in It podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for everything that you are doing out there in the world to make an impact and to be as awesome as you can be. Again, my name is Bobby D, your host, CEO, and founder of Call to Auction, lead auctioneer, world auctioneer champion, and auctioneer coach. If you're interested in becoming an auctioneer, I would invite you to check out our auctioneerschool.com, auctioneer, SKOOL.com. But again, we'll see you on the next episode, and thanks everybody for your time. All right, go out, raise that revenue, and impact more lives. We'll see you again. Thank you for listening to Auction is Action with the Unit Podcast.